what I'm picking up here is that you have a practice of read, study, you know, introspect, apply, reevaluate, repeat the entire process. And the questions have kind of sort of flowed this path. We talked about how do you balance your life as as like a man, as a competitor, into this business, into this relationship, into this family. How do you raise your kids to have the same sorts of mind, the vulnerability, the processing in their mind to be able to accept their emotions and talk about their emotions. How do you foster the relationship with your wife? How do you foster Julian Alcarez? How do you continue to grow the man that is going to be the role model, the leader, the business owner, like the person that is Julian Alcarez? And how do you prioritize that and make that happen?
Sure. So taking the time to look at what a good goal to achieve to get, so you have to have goals and then micro goals, right? Um, and knowing that this journey doesn't stop, right? Because the minute you stop finding purpose is the minute you failed life, right? And then because I've also read these the Blue Zone, the book called The Blue Zones, where they went to found these sentience in different areas, um, and that people that live into 90, 100 years old plus. And the common thing is, one, they eat well, they stay active, and they have purpose. They believe in something. So, which is easily applied to fitness as well, right? Making sure that I never always surround myself with people that are going to not allow me to slack, to push myself in all aspects in life. So, for example, fitness, surrounding myself with people that enjoy fitness and truly enjoy it, because they'll always pull you back in when you feel like you're feeling lazy and don't want to do it, just to continue that movement, right? Because if you're surrounding yourself around an environment that doesn't have that, that's contagious. There's a book called Connected that talks about this so much. There's studies off and on, and that's why they always say, who are your circle of five, and who do you surround yourself with? Because you can try to set all these goals that work in the short term, but ultimately who you're around is going to suck you back in to the things that you're used to, and it's hard to pull out. And then when you finally get to that point where you've gotten away from the things that made you, that you're trying to get away from, then there comes the obstacles of the hurt that comes along with that, because now you're changing course in life, and you're letting go of things that you felt were such an important part of it, like family, friends. So for me, realizing that relationships come and go, do your best with nurturing the relationship with people that are around you. At the end of the day, the most important ones are my family, and the people that are in my circle, just holding them to a standard, and being okay with setting a standard, right? Because that's what's keeping me who I am now. And so I love, this. I'm venturing off into real estate, and we bought in properties and learning all about that, and being okay with not knowing things. I think the biggest thing that I've picked up is that when you jump into anything, it's going to be overwhelming, something that you're not comfortable with. But it only takes like for example, books on real estate or even nutrition. It took like 3 to 4 books before you start picking up the language, and then you start understanding it. And then once you do that, I think where people fall victim when they start reading all these books, they feel like they have to adopt exactly what the person said, and they don't take what they've learned and applied it to their own personal life, and they get lost. And I started realizing that there's only so many books that I can read before, okay, like I really actually have to apply this, and I have to gain experience, because that is, I mean, ultimately all these books came from experience. That's how they wrote the books in the first place. So creating my own story, um, constantly challenging myself and humbling myself to learning things, and also getting to a point where I've acknowledged, just because you can be good at something doesn't mean you need to be. Because let's just say, you know, um, I started doing this with guns. I picked up a hobby with purchasing guns and going to shoot them, and I was like looking into competitions and stuff like that. But then I had a moment of stopping. I said, well, wait a minute. If you do this, knowing the kind of person that you are, then you'll get sucked into this, and then it requires a lot of time. And now you're going to pull away from the things that you're trying to stay connected to, because that's the kind of personality that I have. Is I like to really, submerge myself into something because I get excited about it, but then you get pulled away from the things that you going back to what are your priorities, So and then I realized I'm like, okay, just because you can doesn't mean you have to, but knowing that you can is a very important thing. So learn as much as you can on the topic so you don't get played a fool, but stay your course. Stay your course. And I think for me, it's just constantly reading the room, making sure that I'm always connecting with the street parking team, because we have like 50 people that work for street parking, and then dealing with all these new ventures that we're dealing with, and then again and then there comes the family and the relationship and all that stuff. So being kind and figuring out which cup needs to be filled up, and constant adjustment for sure is how I kind of approach things.
It's like an infinite work in progress.
Oh, 100%. And I love that though. I love the challenge of that actually. And it's great. It's been really, really great.
So how are you feeling? Actually, I'm curious, did you always know that you wanted to be a dad?
I did. I actually knew that I wanted to be a dad, which was really weird because I told Miranda like that I wanted to have kids before we even talked about marriage. That was really backwards. But we did.
Coming
And
on a little too strong there, Julian.
I did. It was so odd. But I knew I wanted to be a father. And I love every moment of it because, as you'll know, and you're going to continue to know, it just you just learn so much about yourself in this journey of being a father, for sure.